Welcome to the iRacing Skip Barber series here on BSR TV. This is round 5 from Laguna Seca with me, Chris Cohen, joined once again in the commentary box by Matt Dalton. Evening, Matt. Oh, have we got Matt? Matt, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, thought we lost you for a moment. That would have been a good start. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm good. Yeah, completely missed the intro and everything. I was sat here in complete silence and just enjoying me bowl of trifle.
Trifle this week, is it?
Yeah, trifle, and I got a bag of Martin gums. Sugar overload, really.
Good stuff. And also joined by Rachel Whiteford, who is our pit lane reporter for the evening. Evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Chris.
And Laguna Seca is quite a challenging circuit, but Rachel, you've been putting in quite a lot of time on this track because it's the official, the season, the track selection matches the official season. You've been putting in quite a lot of time just because it's in the official races. But how have you been finding it this week?
I have indeed, Chris. I'm fairly new to the track and the car, but as far as tracks go, it's a very challenging circuit. Some corners are quite deceptive, but the car and track combination together are a brilliant recipe for a great race. There are some dangerous corners. The corner directly after the corkscrew section will usually catch out the unwary driver, and of course the Andretti hairpin at the start of the straight, so it should be an interesting race.
One of the most famous corners on the circuit, of course, the corkscrew, kind of off the cliff chicane left to right. It's caught quite a few drivers out, and in the BTCC, which we also cover on BSR TV, last season Laura Bond started in pole position and was caught out there on the first lap in the lead of the race, which caused a bit of a pile-up, and Matt will remember that one.
Yep, we predicted great things for her and then promptly had a talenectomy and binned it. Bet you've missed that one, haven't you? A couple of weeks, no talenectomies.
Oh, plenty of talentectomies this evening to come, I'm sure. We've got a very large grid as well. There's 42 cars out there going to be qualifying, but before we go down to the track, the guys have already started qualifying. Before we go down there, let's have a quick look at how the standings sit at the moment, because Mark Mercer has a 29-point lead, a 30-point lead, even. That's really obvious, sorry about that. Mark Mercer is 30 points ahead of Blake Townend in the championship already, and we're only 4 rounds in. So he's a whole race victory ahead of his nearest rival, and Mark Mercer is multiple champion in this particular series already, and Savidovic is behind them both, although he's just on Townend's tail. How do you think Townend will take that, Matt?
Well, he's Blake's the reigning champion, and he's one of those guys who, over the course of a season, his consistency tends to pull it back. So I'm not sure he'd be panicking just yet, but he's going to be fairly determined to make a bit more of an impression tonight. I should say as well, we covered the BTCC here last year. I'll be honest, I'm gutted that we're back. I hate this place with a passion.
Well, you're one of the proponents of the idea that it promotes boring racing.
Yeah. Or more to the point, no racing.
Well, one thing that the series hasn't been short on is close quarters action, even though these are open wheel races. So maybe the two will cancel each other out. What do you think?
I hope with every fibre of my being that you're correct.
And how have you found the racing this week in the official, Rachel? Have you found it particularly boring or troublesome or any of those symptoms?
I think, Chris, so far in the official races I've been involved in, it's going to be won by consistency, not by top-end speed. It's a track within a car that you can't really be a hot lapper with, and it's going to come down to the corners and the exit people are getting, because there's a lot of wrecks happening in the official series. People are spinning out on their own, not much car contact, but it's mostly people making their own mistakes, so it should be interesting to see what happens tonight. I think the race will probably be won in the pits.
So that
it does. I was going to say, it does give us a chance to use a new bit of technology that I've been working on in my couple of weeks off, which is the official Matt Dalton Carnageometer. And I think it's currently revving towards the high end at the moment. I'm predicting great things at the corkscrew on lap 1.
Well, the only thing we can do is wait and see, I suppose, which is about 15 minutes away now. The guys are still out on track qualifying. But let's run down the rest of those scores for you, because Maycock is in 4th place, Hamilton 5th, Green 6th, Streetley 7th. That's a 6th and 7th place for GR Legends as well. And Paul Grillo, the other half of PH Racing, is in 8th place. LJ Garnett, who we saw do very well at Silverstone before being taken out, unfortunately, he's in 9th place. Tom Ward 10th, and Stuart Adcock and Thomas O'Leary share 11th place. Tim Adcock is 13th, Dave Grunnell is in 14th, Clark Williams 15th, Peter Cowan is 16th, and then he shares 16th in fact with Sam Everest, Brendan O'Brien, Fahim Antonides, Bobby Bramley, Ryan Littlemore, Alan Piercy. 23rd is with Keith Sharp, and then down to Robert Fagg, James Steele, James Child, Ellis Stevens 26th, Daniel Hunt is in 28th, along with Ross McWilliam, Robert Plumley, and George Lambert and Alan Patterson are sharing 31st place. All the standings can be seen in full on the website bsrtv.net. There's a link through to the standings. Just click on the Skip Barber link at the top, and then that link will be available to you if you wanted to look at drivers that are outside the top 32. Why 32? Because that's how many fitted on this particular scoreboard. But there is a team championship as well going on. It is being led quite convincingly at the moment by PH Racing, who are slightly renamed from last season, Matt.
Yeah, they were the Team Purple Helmet last year, weren't they? Which apparently has some form of other connotation. I'm not quite sure what that would be, but
I couldn't imagine, what that might be. But let's just move on.
Compared to Team SS Racing, I think they were kind of lucky, to be honest with you. I think they were getting away with it quite well.
And just speaking about SS Racing, I mean, we haven't seen them this season really. Simon Povey and Simon Hulbert have scored a total of 2 points all season, and they just haven't been out on track, which is a shame because they were both very quick last season in their purple livery.
No, again, they seem to have cowered in the face of Russian aggression, and not for the first time, so not sure what's happened to those guys.
And we were talking about GR Legends holding the 6th and 7th spot in the championship for the drivers, and that's put them in 2nd place overall in the team championship. Friction Racing, Racing Game Show, Club 100 Racing, Radicals down to 6th place, but it's worth bearing in mind there that there's just one member of that team up until fairly recently, because Blake Townend was running that team on his own. Warnell Racing 7th, Ninja Racing 8th, Apex Racing 9th, and then Zen Software Racing, Zobspeed, No Grip Racing, Club 100 Semi-Pros, one of the other Club 100 teams on offer. Team Castrol are in 14th, GR Masters, the other half of the 4-man GR team, are in 15th, and then the AAA Racing team are in 16th place. About time we got down to the track anyway, I believe. Let's see how these guys are doing out there. It's worth pointing out as well that if you're watching on YouTube on a computer, then you can have a look at the other feed, the other camera feed that we've got going on this evening, which is Robert Plumley's onboard feed. He's good enough to run that for us, so thanks to him for offering to do that. If you want to see what it's like from the point of view of somebody who's actually racing out there on the track, then you can switch over. Unfortunately, I don't think the camera selector works on mobiles or TVs at the moment. So YouTube, if you're listening, we could do with that functionality. But if you're on a PC, that's open to you. Let's get some positions up on your screen. Grillo is out in front. Mark? I was going to call you Mark then. Clearly not Mark. But he's setting a standard for qualifying throughout the season, really.
Who? What? Sorry,
I was talking to you, Matt. I did call you Mark.
You called me Mark, you did. Slightly confusing. I'll change my name if you want, but it's a bit expensive just for a part-time YouTube commentary.
Well, I'm joined in the commentary box by Mark Dalton this evening. Mark, Paul Grillo has been qualifying very well all season.
Paul Grillo qualifies very well last season as well. He's just been outdone by Mark Mercer, just as we say he was about to sit on pole position.
So the two PH
George
teammates
going very well again tonight as well, isn't he? Up to 4th. It's nice to see George back challenging at the sharp end.
He is, yep. It's
Jonathan's top of the Cox in P7 as well.
For now, anyway. Oh no, just been pipped by another cock then, but Stuart Adcock enters 6th place there. Townend though only managing 8th at the moment, so some work to do for him, but he should get higher than that, you think?
Yeah, you'd expect Blake to pull himself a little bit closer at the front before the end, wouldn't you?
And what sort of times? I mean, 1:37.6 is a very, very fast time, Rachel. But what sort of times would a realistic time be if you were just an average iRacer trying to get around this circuit?
Oh, thank you, Chris, for referring to me as the average iRacer. No, I think it's going to be difficult to say because this is obviously a qualifying session and your flat-out pace is going to be dampened somewhat by traffic. I'm just on board with Tom Stanley in the 961 at the moment, watching his laps. And he's going up the timing boards quite representatively from starting qualifying in 25th. He's now up to 18th. And his biggest factor at the moment is traffic. And I think in the race itself, possibly going to be looking at the 1:40s, 1:39s in terms of pace, because I think people are going to be trying to battle over position. And at the moment, it's just not going to be feasible. I don't see times dropping much below the 37.5 mark in this session.
We've got a 37.6 at the moment, so there's definite possibility of improvement. But Mercer and Grillo, that championship for the teams, Matt, looks pretty set already. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season, but they've got a 50-60 point lead already.
You'd think that that's pretty much insurmountable at this point. I think it's with it being as close as it is,
especially considering Blake Townend is obviously running in a team basically on his own there as well. Tom Stanley over the line, doesn't improve this time round.
What happened to our Fraulein the Plum Tart then?
Andy Kirchtort, who was Blake Townend's comrade last season. Teammate is the word I'm looking for. You've got me thinking about Russians now. So he is not running this season. I'm not sure why, but maybe Andy can fill us in on that one. If he sends us a message and gets in touch in the chat, he could let us know.
I wonder if we just had a new poll from Mr. Streetley, who's just pushed it up to a 37.581, so we're getting closer.
Well, you called it, didn't you? So George Streetley goes pole position. Seems to be a track he favours, doesn't it?
It does. He was quick in practice. So with a 37.4. So yeah, perhaps another tenth or so to go there, but it's perhaps not the great surprise you'd think that he's up at front. But he does seem to like the place. Total opposite to me. I hate it.
Well, he has got the draft advantage. He is drafting with his teammate there. So there's not a huge amount of long straights here.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is a track where the draft is as important as it is somewhere like Road America or, you know, anywhere where there's a really long straight, to be honest. I think this place is a momentum track first and foremost, and the one thing you can probably pick up by following a teammate is, you know, a little bit of a toe in the in terms of spotting braking points and things like that. But I'm not sure the draft is worth as much here as it is other places.
I think it can be worth quite a bit in places, but as you say, it's a momentum track. I think the best drivers here are using the corner entry to set themselves up for a drag race out of the corner and into the straight. It's, as you say, a momentum track, and those corner entries are absolutely critical.
Yep. I'll be honest with you, my opinion of Laguna Seca is not amazing, so I have a sneaky suspicion that the most exciting thing to pass my lips tonight is going to be the trifle I just ate, but
we will have to see, at least. There's no shortage of excitement in the series in general, and with 5 minutes of qualifying to go, Mark Mercer is just 600th behind George Streetley, who is on pole position. Townend's clawed his way back to 5th position. Savidovic is in 6th, and Job, who really hasn't done so well or had much fortune when it comes to the races, qualifies so well, doesn't he? And he's in 4th place.
He is. He perhaps just seems to get a little excited during the race, doesn't he? And ends up making silly moves and dragging himself into battles, which costs him time and position. He's certainly quick enough over a single lap.
And Marcus Hamilton, as well, is worth a mention. He is in 8th position at the moment for Friction Racing. He is doing extremely well, and not as far as I know. I know Lewis does have a brother, and he's not called Marcus, he's called Nick, so probably
Nick
not.
is on iRacing, I'm told, though, isn't he? I think.
You never know.
I think he is. He's a pretty good iRacer by all accounts as well.
As you would expect he might be.
Yep.
A couple of new
Runs
entries.
in the family.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does, definitely. Yeah,
He's still running in the Clio Cup as well, isn't he, I believe?
I couldn't confirm or deny that.
There we go. Little tidbits of information we hand you on BSR TV.
I
Not
think the real
then.
question on everyone's lips tonight, Matt, is the trifle any good?
It was. It's gone.
You have it here, folks. World exclusive. Trifle is good.
It's all gone.
4 minutes to
I
go
need to give
out there on the circuit.
I need to give a quick shout out to somebody as well. I've got Laura who's not very well, so I'm just going to say get well soon.
Yeah, that's shared by myself and Rachel as well. So yeah, get well soon, and we'll see you back on the track in no time.
Not if she beats me again, but get well soon, Laura.
Different Laura to that one, but yep.
Different Laura,
Oh.
okay then.
Well, you've just confused me now.
Laura
we like
Bond.
to keep you on your toes.
Let's go ahead and do the new entries anyway. Raymond Norris in 17th position. Haven't seen him out on the track before. We have missed 2 rounds here on BSR TV. We're just getting back into this, so might well be that we've missed a few rounds of Raymond Norris action as well. And Luca Antinori is out there on the track as well. I'll get there in the end. Andrew Chadbourne. He's possibly a new face, running in 40th at the moment. Not familiar with him in this series, so hopefully all these guys can settle in and set some good lap times in the last 3 minutes of this, and we'll be seeing how they do in the race. Rich Jones as well as somebody we haven't seen before, I believe. The series is open to absolutely anyone in the UK and I community, so if you did want to get involved and you are a member, then yeah, by all means seek the league out, UK and I Skip Barber series, and put in an application. And you too could be on the track with some of the top Skip Barber, and it is fair to say, Matt, isn't it, some of the top Skip Barber drivers that there are on this service.
Certainly the top skip drivers from the UK and I club, and you know, as we've said every time this is on, really, these guys at the front end especially are the some of the quickest guys in the club on any car, really.
So Streetley gets down to a 137.449, which is even higher, well, even lower, I suppose, when we're talking about time, than was predicted by our Rachel Whiteford. So very impressive time there. Paul Grillo, 1/10 down. Mark Mercer a further 10th down in 3rd place now. Savidovic 4th. Job pushed down to 5th. But whatever happened to Wojtek Rapstin? Because we haven't seen him for a while, have we?
No, I've no idea. Is the answer to that one?
And
The Mad Monk, he hasn't returned.
the question is, Streetley setting a blistering time. He has been fast in quite a few races, but can he hold off the PH Racing team that are going to be starting behind him if things stay the way they are?
I can't answer that one for you. I know that's one of those loaded questions that you love to ask.
And passed another car on the inside through that turn, which is a line I've never seen taken, and the man clearly has talent, so if anyone can hold them off, it's probably him.
So that lap will not be an improvement on his best, 137.4. He's just got to hope now that nobody can pip that right at the end of qualifying. Grillo and Mercer, you can see them there, they are drafting one another, and Grillo comes through the corkscrew ahead of Mercer. So Mercer will get the benefit this time round, but can they improve on that amazing 137.449? They will get to finish their last qualifying lap here, but they won't be able to start another one because it's going to take them more than the allowed time to get past the start-finish line. Let's
I don't
see.
think he's going to improve that lap because he went wide in the 3rd to last corner.
Just going over the line now, it's a 136.7. Wasn't far off, was it? And that puts Mercer on pole.
Yeah, that's...
Wow.
See, you were saying he couldn't do it, and he did it.
That's amazing, even with
Commentators
going
kiss of
wide.
death.
Well, I was watching Mr. Grillo, not Mercer, so my fault there.
So Mercer starts on pole from Streetley, but Streetley is going to be in a PH Racing sandwich because Grillo's 3rd, Savidovic qualifies 4th, Job 5th. Blake Townend, though, could only manage 7th, and we always say that with a pinch of salt, only 7th, but still very impressive qualifying.
Anywhere in the top 14 in this company is pretty impressive. I'm not going to say top 15 because Marcus Narris said that I couldn't pick on him earlier, so I am. If you're outside the top 14, you're officially rubbish.
So, but that's got to disappoint Blake, surely, because he would have wanted to start higher up the field than that.
He will, but you know, I think again, the one thing you'll say with Blake, he's a better racer than he is a qualifier, isn't he?
Absolutely, yep. And I did have some doubts because he was starting at the front so much. I often had doubts about how his overtaking was. He's not an aggressive driver, but if you leave a gap, he will take it. And these top guys, they all race with each other in this series every week. They know how each other's driving is, and they do tend to respect one another. There's not an awful lot of collisions up at the front, so could make for some exciting racing, which would go against your Laguna Seca boredom theory, I think.
No, it's not going to happen. The Carnageometer is a trusted and, well improved, well worked device. I have faith. It's needling into the red and it's predicting it at the corkscrew.
I think it'll be the first corner.
You see, we always say the first corner and it never happens with this lot.
Oh, the first corner is usually a nightmare from what I've seen, but these guys seem to be very good, so let's see.
Do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing George Streetley take this one. I think he is long due a win in this series. I can't see it happening personally, but you never know.
Quick shout out as well to the Thomas O'Leary, who's top of the Irish crew. You've got O'Leary, O'Brien, O'Connell, and then shortly behind them is O'No. And right down the bottom of the pit field in position 42 is, oh god no, Robert Burton.
Brilliant. Well, Burton grid's up right at the back there, and you can just about make out, if you're watching in HD, you might be able to see right at the back of the grid those final places. Don't forget, you can switch over, if you're watching on a computer, you can switch over to the onboard footage from Robert Plumley, which is on the other camera feed. If you're on mobile or TV, you can't do that. And Paul Grillo takes up his place right near the front of the grid. He will be starting in third position. How important is the inside line here, Matt?
Crucial. It's the run down to that first corner on this track. He is more important than any other, I think, and you need to be in front. A track position here is critical. And
you say that overtaking is going to be very difficult here.
I think overtaking here is possibly more difficult than almost any other track. And just as we mentioned, Andy Kershaw is actually spectating in the race.
So big hello
good evening,
to Andy, if he's watching this. Then Mark Mercer will lead the field away in just a moment from the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. George Streetley, not entirely unexpected, but slightly unexpected second place. He's leading the left-hand side of the grid, away on the front row. And we've still got a hold here. Oh, we've got some lights now, so 15 laps of intense open wheel action coming your way right now on BSR TV as we have green Laguna Seca. Mark Mercer leads the field away. Streetley tries to move to the inside as quickly as possible. Let's make sure everyone gets off that line okay before we switch the camera over somewhere else. Everybody looks okay so far, but down into turn 1 Mercer has it from Streetley and Grillo, and this is where it could get nasty. So let's on that turn 1, the Andretti hairpin. At the moment everyone's through there okay, which is quite a surprise.
See, we told you. No, it's not.
You did
told
indeed.
you. This lot hate first corner wrecks. They'll wait till about 3-4 corners in before they all go mental.
And already a gap forming there. And who's that moving down the inside, just out of the camera there? Is that Hamilton trying to get past Savidovic? It is.
Yeah, it's Marcus Hamilton side by side with Wodge there.
And Savidovic has the inside line there.
Inside of the two of them.
A little bit of contact. Savidovic pushed wide by. I think that was Townend, was it? Just a little bit of inadvertent contact there.
It is, and you've got 3 wide now with Sebastian Job up the inside as well.
Turn 6 is not where you want to go 3 wide, but everyone, minor gravel impact there, but
here we go, the carnageometer. Here it goes.
So Job running in 7th, but you can see he's already running without his front wing, so he's lost that somehow already. Don't want to go too wide through the corkscrew, guys. There's a little bit of contact in the back. Oh dear.
Yeah!
Rolling cars. This has been... Yep, it's off the needle.
I told you, the greatest invention ever.
We have lost Stuart Adcock, I think. Let's try and go back and have another quick look at that. That was down in the corkscrew.
Car spinning out on the exit of the corner after the corkscrew now.
Oh dear, well that wasn't the result we'd hoped for, was it? Let's just go on board with Stuart Adcock as we come down to the corkscrew for the first time. He's he's just been bumped from behind, you can see that, and then he can't avoid the car on his right, or the car...
Oh, big wreck in the final corner on this lap.
Well, we'll come to that in just a moment. We're still watching the rolling car of Stuart Adcock, which is unfortunate, but it looks like we've lost a few more guys as well, which doesn't look good. So they did get through the first corner, but then not too far after that. Tell us more about that wreck, Rachel.
As they were coming into the final hairpin, we had about 4 or 5 cars get together. I can't quite see the numbers from the replay, but there was heavy contact in the braking zone for that final hairpin.
Well, I don't think we can get
I
you a
should say
replay
as
of
well-
that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, we should say as well, commiserations to all involved. The cheer was not because there was an accident or anything like that. It was purely because for once a prediction had been proved correct.
For once. But all of this wrecking means that Stephen Hefford for Team Castrol is now up in 16th place. So he's running well, but the grid's still fairly tightly packed. He's got Simmons behind him and Child up in front. Oh, he lost somebody else. Who's that? Just gone off into the barriers there. Is that Child? Yeah, James Child has lost the front of his car after losing it at turn 6. So drama already. We're only 2 laps in, and not a good day for the Club 100s, Matt.
Well, you say that, but Mark Mercer's out in front at the moment. George Streetley is clambering all over the back of him, so whether he's going to be able to hold it or not, I'm not sure. Hopefully it'll delay themselves a little bit, enough to allow Blake and Vodge to get onto the back of him as well and make this a 5-way group.
So
As we all know, the party's bigger, better when there's more people there.
it usually is. George Streetley looking for a way past Mark Mercer. He would have been disappointed to have been pipped at the post at the very end there, but he knows how fast Mercer is, doesn't he?
Yeah, but again, Mercer and his teammate were running pretty close together and trying to tow each other around, and Streetley, you know, importantly, I think lost his teammate on the lap before, and his teammate spun coming out of the corkscrew. So I think that just may have been the difference.
It looks like we might have lost Paul Lee as well. Oh, we got a spinner down at the final corner there, causing all kinds of carnage, and a few cars getting together in that and causing a bit of damage. So second lap in a row that we've lost people on that particular corner. What about the rest of the field, Rachel? Who's going well further down?
Well, I'm currently riding on board with Jason McCurry, and he's in currently 35th place. But
Don't
he's
say
running
Curry,
clean
I'm really
laps.
hungry.
And if we look further upfield, back to the chap I mentioned, Tom Stanley, 961, he's been running pretty consistently. He's moved up from his starting position in 22nd. He's in 17th place. He's running clean laps, and things are looking pretty good from that angle. We've got a lot of cars coming into pits at the moment for repairs, and there's quite a lot with nose damage out on track.
Thanks for that, Rachel. Blake Townend is up into 4th position already, so he has made a statement of intent, but Savidovic is right on his tail as they're coming down into Andretti for the 4th time. Townend looked like he was going to take the defensive line there, and Savidovic just trying to find the way down the inside, but that's where you want to be, right on the inside there, if you want to make the pass, Matt.
Yeah, it's again, we have to say, not a massive amount of action here at the front. They're all climbing all over each other a little bit, but nobody really making a move.
Further
It's
down.
just not one of those tracks that's conducive to side-by-side open racing, is it?
No, and we saw what happens when that's attempted, especially at the corkscrew on lap 1. Peter Cowan currently running in 8th place for Club 100 Racing, and he has Thomas O'Leary and Tim Adcock just behind him, so probably the closest pack in the field at the moment. These guys dropping back, though, from Marcus Hamilton, who is now 3 seconds in front in 7th place. And the grid really starting to split out a little bit, but we might be seeing a challenge here from Paul Grillo, who looks down the outside of the corkscrew, and it's not the place to overtake, so he's going to have to tuck it back in for now. 4 laps down.
He was contemplating the Marquez approach there, wasn't he, but decided better of it.
Oh, we missed it, but
Oh.
Townend has been jumped by Savidovic. Go ahead, Rachel.
So I was just going to say, we had Mark Burton coming into the 4th corner, and he managed a massive spin but kept it out of the wall.
I wonder if he's a relation.
Sorry, Robert Burton, not Mark Burton.
Oh, it was
you say
Rob
Mark
Burton.
earlier.
Let's go back and have another look at that. That's always a good one to watch. Robert Burton's driving on track at 29
Controversial Rob.
at the moment. He's got one of the Team Castrol boys. I think that's Dan Hunt right behind him. And just seemed to lock up the wheel and twitch the other way. I'm not really sure what happened with his car. It seemed a very strange incident down at turn 5.
He always reminds me of Kate Adie, the old news presenter for BBC News. He reminds me of her because wherever he goes, there's trouble.
Well,
It wouldn't surprise me if she's currently in Ukraine.
no one else involved in that one, just a bit of sideways action, resulting in a bit of wing damage on the back of Burton's Skip Barber. Sebastian
I'm back in the
Joe.
pits now.
Sorry?
Mr. Burton's coming into the pits at a moment. I can just see his car
Yes.
rolling towards me.
It's his natural home.
A little bit too much damage on that car then. So,
I believe it's a drive-through, actually.
oh,
That's his
okay.
natural home. Savidovic getting rather badly balked by a backmarker there as well. That's cost him some time,
Townend
preventing this first 3 becoming a first 5.
no way through for Townend just yet. I mean, we didn't see how Savidovic got past, unfortunately, but those two are old rivals from last season. Savidovic narrowly missing out on the victory overall to Blake Townend at the end of last season. Oh, watch out, backmarker! That's not the best
Alan
place to
Patterson
come back
doing
on
his
the track.
best to get as far out of the way as he possibly can.
I think it could be. And just look at this, Vittorio Saltalamacchia, who I think it's fair to say normally runs quite near the back of the field, is up to 26 now, so good run for him, just from the pure attrition at this circuit.
That's a cracking run for him, yeah.
And just behind him he's got Raymond Norris, and Steve Richardson is not too far behind either. So,
And we know that everybody loves Raymond.
well, we're yet to find out, aren't we? Because we haven't got particular experience of Raymond in this series just yet. Mercer,
Missing
meanwhile,
all the food. I'm missing all the guys with like Bramley and Plumley and all that. I'm missing the food jokes.
well,
I
Plumley's
know
out
you're
there.
not because you're hungry, but Bobby Bramley, come back if you're listening. A crumble is not the same without you.
Plumley is a lap down at the moment, unfortunately. He must have got involved in one of those incidents, and he is our onboard cameraman. So if you wanted to switch over to the other cameras during the race, you can have a look at his race and get his feedback as well, because he's talking, well, not sure if he's talking or swearing in his current position, but he's certainly giving it his best out on track.
Speaking of Mr. Raymond Norris, we just had a great pass by him on Steve Richardson on the start-finish line.
Sorry, George Streetley's trying to go around the outside of Mark Mercer at the top of the corkscrew there. That's not going to work.
Let's go back and have another
Sorry,
quick look at that one.
apologies for going up about 15 octaves there. We actually had some action.
It was around the outside, wasn't it? And that's one of the largest drafting zones if you count the run up the hill and turn 6, because you don't have to lift too much for turn 6. But the problem is that you've got that corkscrew at the end of it, and you just can't. I mean, you've got to be brave to overtake there, haven't you?
Absolutely. Although he's all over the bumper of Mercer, so it could make things interesting.
Well, Mark Mercer's holding on to it very well, and he's not a stranger to the front of the field by any means. But Grillo, I think the best strategy really is for Grillo to get past Streetley if he can possibly manage it, isn't it? Because then that would give Mercer the buffer he needs.
Assuming Grillo is not going to attack him, because we've seen before teammates on this are perhaps not as teammately as they would be in Formula 1. George Streetley's impressing me quite a lot here, actually. I think he's clearly quick through the first half of the lap especially, and he's able to catch right up onto the back of Mark Mercer, and then through this section up towards the corkscrew is, I think that's where he's looking to make a move. He's just trying to size it up as much as anything.
Well, Grillo not really making the inroads he needs to. Well, Streetley having a look. I think he was just trying to find his braking marker there rather than make a serious overtake.
Yeah, but you can see he's cruised up to the back of Mark Mercer again fairly easily, isn't he?
He has, and it's difficult to say how much of that is draft, but in your opinion, that is a faster section for Streetley.
Yeah, I think he's just quicker through the first half of the lap. And then he loses a car length or two coming down the hill off the corkscrew.
Well, every driver has their own personal favourite best corners. The top drivers, of course, will try and maximise the number of those corners on any particular circuit. But we're seeing here that it's a very close 1, 2, 3 there. There's 0.5 of a second in it as we reach the halfway mark in this race. Savidovic and Townend just don't have the pace to get on the back of this train, do they?
No, and I got to say, my favourite corner at Laguna Seca is the one that leads from the car park out onto the main road and back to the airport.
Oh, guys, we just had a brilliant pass on the inside for the final hairpin by Mr. Stanley on Stephen Hefford. He's just moved himself up to 12th place, so 10 places up so far.
Let's go back and have
Still a
another
good
look at
run
that one.
That's a good run from Steve Hefford to be that high up, mine, isn't it?
Absolutely. Great
just
drive.
bringing up Stanley on the replay now, who takes the inside line. Not a lot of resistance there from Hefford. Didn't seem to want to keep the inside line. Would only have slowed him down. And yeah, Hefford's running 13th, so excellent performance from him in this race. And we were saying before the race, actually, I had a chance to talk to Steve Anya, just pointing out that he hasn't scored yet this season. The top 20 drivers in every race score points, and unfortunately he's been outside the top 20 in every race. But this, without wanting to curse him too much, could be the race to change all that, hopefully.
Could be. I'm just trying to keep a close eye on this battle at the front here. I've got a sneaky suspicion that Savidovic is just, maybe a tenth or a tenth and a half a lap is just edging in on these front three. I'm just trying to keep an eye on that gap.
Well, it was 1.4 and now it's down to 0.8. So
He's definitely closing in.
Does look like Grillo has dropped off the back of Streetley just a little bit. But we've got 4 teams in the top 5 at the moment. And don't forget about Sebastian Job, who is currently running in 6th place. He doesn't look like he's a threat to really cause any massive overtakes in this race, but will score well if he finishes 6th.
Yeah, just looking at lap times, you've got Mark Mercer's last lap was a 37.6, which was his best of the race. Just Streetley with a 37.8. Grillo with a 38.3, which is quite considerably off. And then you've got Savidovic and Blake both running 37.8s and 38.3s respectively. So the times are so close that, Savidovic, I think, is there or thereabouts, and Job is obviously still on the back of Blake Townend as well.
And we're just seeing Rob Marshall getting a bit wide in the corkscrew, and down that big steep embankment there's really no recovering from that. That's put him out of the race, I believe, unfortunately. I think Streetley's going to have a massive task to get past Mercer. He's had 9 laps to do it now. No real sign except that one outside manoeuvre at the corkscrew, which wasn't really an overtaking position. What do you think, Rachel? Can Streetley get past?
I don't know. At the moment, they both seem to be pretty consistent, so it's going to be a matter of who blinks first.
And it's Savidovic.
Ooh, big moment from Streetley there through that kink.
That almost
That's
opened the door for
cost him
Grillo. Now Savidovic down the outside of Grillo. Too wide, going into the final corner. Grillo should have this. Savidovic is going to take the wide line and try and keep as much power down for the
exit.
exit.
He's inside him. Grillo's managed to keep... Oh, no. No, Savidovic
Still
is
too wide.
out. He's passed.
Savidovic should have it down into Andretti, but this is going to be very
listed as
close.
third.
Savidovic, no, he's not going to do it. Grillo has the speed. So where did that speed come from Grillo?
It was his last corner exit. He had a great run out that corner.
Well, we were talking before, weren't we, about the gap, and that gap is now gone.
The other thing is that inside line is, is a good couple of car lengths shorter as well over the top of that hill. It's another feature of this track that the straights aren't really what you'd call straight.
That's a very good point there. Savidovic is now in 4th place, but danger of taking 3rd. Townend's dropped off the back though, so Townend perhaps happy to settle for 5th. He wants to watch out for Job behind, who's closing in on him for 6th place, and then a very large gap back to Hamilton in 7th, who is a full 5 seconds down now. But Streetley, after that mistake, kind of almost handed 3rd place to Savidovic and might have cost him the race win.
Chris, I think Job is going to take Townsend now. Townsend put his foot off the gravel on the run up the hill to the corkscrew, and Job seems to be getting much closer now. He's just on his bumper.
Thanks for that, Rachel. It's almost Sebastian Job's day, isn't it? But not quite. He didn't quite have the momentum to get past. And
someone's off.
Yeah, well, that was
that. Is it a back marker?
a bit of a scare. Those guys are back markers.
Phew. This battle's good.
So Job, in 6th position at the moment, is staring at the back of former champion, last season's champion, Blake Townend. Job is no stranger to pace. He's certainly got it in abundance, but race consistency has eluded him so far. He's going to have the draft down into the Andretti hairpin, but no chance of getting past there. And Savidovic, just look how close Savidovic is now behind Grillo. And race pace wise, Grillo always qualifies well, doesn't he, Matt? But seems to lack so much pace during the race.
Well, I don't think it's a case of... I mean, the problem is that the lap times are so close that if you lose a couple of tenths or a couple of car lengths, defending your position, then it's almost impossible to make that back, and especially here because, as we said, there's no big drafting zones for the guys to work with to claw that gap back. And while you've got, Mark Mercer and George Streetley line astern at the front, it's not like they're slowing each other up as we see at other tracks to claw these guys back to either. So, I think the message that I would put out from the end of this is that, for anybody who hosts leagues or racing on iRacing, ban Laguna Seca.
Well, I tell you one thing, Streetley is faster and he's down the inside of Mercer out of the corkscrew. And Mercer's got a problem. Mercer has got a problem. Streetley just breezed past him on the corkscrew exit. He is gonna... Well, he seems to have sped up again. I thought he might have let his teammate pass there, but hasn't. So, what happened there? That's the question. Slow down?
We've had one or two guys actually doing rear wheel damage on one of the curbs in that section. Just had Mr. Raymond Norris also get wheel damage and pull it into the pits with a very wobbly car. I think they're clipping one of the curbs far too hard.
That is almost definitely a slowdown, I think.
Let's have a look at that from another angle.
He's just got 4 wheels off the track and...
He's having trouble controlling that car. Mercer's going to lose his place to Grillo anytime soon.
Let's just have another look at that on the replay, and he is 4 wheels off.
Well, but is he...
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, if you watch Streetley behind him, they're almost running the same line, aren't they? That's I don't know. If that's a slowdown, that's really harsh. I wonder if Rachel's correct if he hasn't picked up some wheel damage.
Well, he has dropped off the back.
The car itself isn't looking too bad, but he seems to be fighting it a lot more at the moment, so hard to say.
Well, it is curious, but that might well have handed Streetley the victory, because he is now 1.5 seconds to the good at the front of this race with only 3 laps to go. Grillo, though, what does he do? I mean, if you're Paul Grillo and you think your teammate's got damage up in front, what do you do?
I'd pass him. It's one-on-one racing. There's no team orders in this game.
Yeah.
And from looking at the car, there seems to be something the right, I'm getting confused now. The right rear on Mercer's car does seem to be slightly further in than the left, so I think he's picked up damage off a sausage curb.
Well, we have no comparison for you, unfortunately. We've only got cameras on the rear of one side of the car, but that's what the rear of Mercer's car looks like at the moment on your screen. He doesn't seem to be that slow, though. I mean, last time round, he's just coming over the line now, completes the lap in a 1:37.7, which is actually faster than George Streetley's last lap. So if he does have damage on that car, it's not slowing him down enough to make enough of a difference. Although Savidovic is looking very dangerous in 4th.
I'm looking at as many angles as I can. I can't see anything obvious there. I wonder if he just got a slowdown. But then, as we said, if he did get a slowdown and Streetley didn't, that's the margin must be a matter of inches, because they almost looked exactly the same place. So, but then these guys do use every single inch of every single bit of track. So,
and a few retirements to talk about as well. We saw Rob Marshall spin off. We've also lost William Justin Sutton. Jonathan Maycock is out. Stuart Adcock is out, unfortunately. Andrew Chadbourne, Paul Lee and Stuart Simmons are all out of the race. I think Danny Lawrence is a new retirement as well, so we might have lost him, unfortunately. But what about further down the field, Rachel? How are the guys down there getting on?
Cars are running pretty well. There seems to be a lot more space at the back than there is at the front, with cars all finding their own space on the track. Stoltamakia, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, is running up pretty close behind Laidlaw. And we've got Daniel Hunt and Blakeney catching each other. A little bit further up the field, we have an update on 961. Tom Stanley has managed to drag himself into 12th place now, passing Halford and keeping that place now. Big gap between those two.
And Tom Stanley's next opponent is a full 13 seconds ahead.
Not going to happen, is it, Chris?
So with 2 laps to go, it would take a mistake from Tim Adcock in 11th to move Tom Stanley any higher up the field. Townend, though, has lost the position to Job. Or has he? Down the inside of Andretti.
No, he's not going to take it. Oh, this is close.
Job's going to hold on to that one. Just about.
No, he's not. I think Townsend's going to get past him in this next one after this.
Very defensive line there from Job. Townend looks to move to the inside. This is what Rachel was talking about. Townend uses his experience there to get back past Sebastian Job. So that defensive line cost him, Matt.
Yeah, it'll slow you down a lot here, and you'll lose a lot of time with it. Yeah.
We didn't see the lead up to that, so we don't know if it was a mistake from Townend that caused that potential
It was a
overtake.
mistake, and he went wide into turn 1. He didn't quite get the car rotated enough, and that let Savernovich past him. The two battled then for the next couple of corners, as you saw. It was the two are getting close.
So, and there's a rather nice pink car we've lost there on the side of the track. The leaders are overtaking him there. Mark O'Connell, who definitely wins the most feminine car award out of all the drivers, but not
Hang on a minute. Hold on just a cotton picking minute. I've seen the colour of Porsche that you drive when we're doing your own, when you're taken out on the track and racing, and I believe it's a pretty similar candy pink colour to that.
That's exactly.
Three cars off at the final corner. Oh no, they've taken out.
Savidovic and Grillo all off.
Well, let's go straight to that because
They are as well. They're gone. Townsend and Savidovic have gotten past them.
let's go back and have another look at that on the replay. Mercer from Grillo from Savidovic there. We're just coming around the final corner.
Townsend and
Now-
Job into second and third.
Savidovic
dear.
is down the inside of Grillo on the replay here.
Mercer's gone again. He spun it out in turn 1.
Hey, he'll have damage. That's Savidovic gone down the inside of Grillo,
yeah.
and he's just piled it rather recklessly into
He
the back of
clipped
an unsuspecting Mark Mercer.
He actually clipped Job earlier on in the lap
Yeah.
as he was coming out of turn 1. He pulled back onto track and clipped the side pod of Job.
Well, let's have another look at that from Savidovic's point of view, because that is key, isn't it? He gets a good run coming into the final corner. Grillo moves over to the regular line. Savidovic goes down the inside here, and then just looks like he couldn't get the brakes on hard enough. Mercer just doesn't see him.
Yeah, he completely outbraked himself, and Mercer's a complete innocent party there. He's doing absolutely nothing wrong, and
Wouldn't have expected two cars back to come that far forward that quickly.
yep, he'd be on the phone to Greenpeace because he just got harpooned.
Well, George Streetley coming round to complete the final lap now has a 7-second gap to the next driver, who is Blake Townend in second position. Job was still a threat for third. Savidovic holds on to it in fourth. But a great drive
Job
from
could be
George
coming up
Streetley.
his inside in this turn. He's got past him. He's level with him coming into the final corner, although Townsend will have the inside line. I think Job may have secured it.
So Streetley over the line there. And now it's a drag race between Job and Townend. Who's going to get there first? Job? Is that...
Job for
Yeah,
second.
great pass right at the end.
Brilliant drive from Job.
takes second place away from Townend. Savidovic over the line in fourth. Well, he must be feeling a little bit guilty about that. Hamilton picks up fifth just from the attrition. His teammate O'Leary sixth. Cowan seventh. Mercer comes home in eighth in the end. And wow, it's a very dramatic end to the race, but otherwise pretty much rank and file, Matt.
Yep. Laguna sucks. Sebastian Job, I gotta say as well, great overtake at the end of that race, running outside of Blake through the last turn. That's real good job. And in one corner, he rectifies the entire thing. And we were saying you can't overtake, and he proves you can.
Well,
It
that
was a very brave drive from Job. Very brave drive today.
Yep.
1/10 in it. That's all there was in second and third place.
Oh, I'm just watching the replay now, and it looks as though it was Grillo came spiraling into the final corner and took out Mercer, rolled him right across the apex.
So we've played the replay of that. It's actually, I'm not sure that you're seeing the right drivers in the right place. It's Savidovic down the inside, as we were talking about just then.
Yep.
I may well be seeing the wrong thing then.
So yeah, Savidovic raced to forget, perhaps. Although he did come home in fourth place, I'm not sure the PH guys will be too pleased with that. Paul Grillo, where did he finish in the end? That's the question.
Does he finish? 12th, 11th. I've got him classified as.
Yep, he's 11th.
So
Great fight, let down by last lap.
yeah, it's a shame about that. Stanley comes home in 12th. We were talking about him earlier. And Hefford, season best of 13th. Both of the Team Castrol guys scoring actually this time, because Dan Hunt came home in 19th as well. A new face on the scoreboard, Rich Jones, there in 16th. And one of your Irish friends there, 15th place, to Brendan O'Brien, Matt.
Yeah, just listening to some of the post-race chat, and there's a little controversy. Marcus Narris, a little dischuffed with somebody.
And you can hear Marcus, in fact, on Wednesday when he'll be taking you through the Carrera Cup. That'll be from Road Atlanta this week. But
Great track, that is. That's a track. That's a proper track.
See, I disagree with you there, Matt. I really, really, as much as I hate driving this track, and I find it a very difficult technical track, and one that's very unforgiving on you as a driver, this is a great track to watch racing at.
It's a great track to watch bike racing at. Rubbish for cars.
well, in 8th place this evening was Peter Cowan, who must have seen some of that last lap excitement. Let's see if we can go over to Peter now and have a quick word. Are you there, Peter? He is not, unfortunately, with us, so we can't have a word with him. But that was a little bit controversial at the end. Savidovic is going to be taking it a little bit easier in the next race, hopefully. The next race that we have for the Skip Barber series is going to be Brands Hatch. Now that's a driver favourite amongst the UK and I community anyway, Matt, so that's going to be
Absolutely.
a lot of strong drivers out there.
As long as there's no incident limit on enforced, because when there is an incident limit, Brands Hatch is a little bit of a nightmare. Very, very, very easy track to pick up a large number of little 1x incidents.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see about that. I'm just wondering, perhaps we can go back over to Peter now. Are you there, Peter?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks for joining us here on BSR TV. We were just wondering whether you might have, coming home in 8th place, you might have seen some of that late drama unfolding in front of you.
No, I was a little far back, but the first I knew about it was a very crab-like Paul Grillo in front of me, and I knew something had happened, and I saw that Mark also was a bit damaged, so I knew I just had to get past as soon as possible.
Well, what is it with people talking about food this evening? I could really go for some grilled crab right now. That would be great. And how was that for you? I mean, that's not an easy track to drive or overtake on.
Well, no, at the beginning of the week I was really struggling, and I did put a lot of work in, so I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, I had a really bad week last week, so this week is pretty good. Yeah, cheers.
And what about qualifying? Because you improved quite a lot on your position from the grid.
Yeah, I benefited from a first lap shunt. It was about 4 wide going up into the corkscrew, and I've forgotten who was in front of me, but my teammate got involved in it, and I jumped forward a few positions because of that.
And we've got a little dispute going on in the commentary box right here, because Matt Dalton is of the opinion that Laguna Seca should be banned from all televised racing just because it's that boring. Rachel, on the other hand, is quite a fan of the racing that's produced here. Which side do you fall on?
Well, after the last couple of weeks of draft fests, I'm just delighted to get away to somewhere where you can actually drive and not be under attack constantly. So I like it. It's here to stay.
And speaking of that, of course, Brands Hatch next week is definitely not so much of a draft fest. How hopeful are you to do well there?
I don't think I've driven this particular combination, so I'll report back on next Monday, I think.
Well, we'll leave you to go and practice for Brands Hatch over the next week, but thanks for joining us, Peter.
Cheers.
That's Peter Cowan there, very good at those drivers who do join us on BSR TV to spare some time in what sometimes is a stressful post-race situation.
Yep, very much appreciated for all the guys who pop in. He does kind of make my point though, doesn't he? He likes it because you're not constantly under attack, which is great for when you're driving, but not for watching.
Well, that is true.
I disagree. I think his opinion was that it's a good track because it's no longer big, boring drafting straights. There's actual driving taking place here. It's an exciting, challenging track, and that lack of battle and the fact the drivers are having to push themselves to catch other cars, I think makes it a great track.
Well, that is one dispute that we're going to have to settle off the air, because it's time for us to get out of your faces with this Laguna Seca dispute right now. Next time you can see us on BSR TV will be Wednesday with the Carrera Cup. That's 8:50 in the evening UK time. That's coming to you from Road Atlanta this week, and that's in the capable hands of Scott Woodwiss and Marcus Narris, and probably Kyle Young as well this week. And then Thursday, the British touring cars are back out in action. Same track, Road Atlanta, same time, 8:50 PM on Thursday. Hope you can join us then. And from Matt, from Rachel, and from me, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't forget, folks, that the Carnageometer was sponsored by Trifle.